the allegations and the response to the allegations of family violence. Is everybody clear on that?
Yes, Judge.
All right, and Ms. Moorcraft, do you have any witnesses?
I do not have any personal witnesses, no, sir, but I do have some questions for their witnesses if we get to that
Okay,
point.
well, you have the right to cross-examine anyone who testifies, just as Ms. Boyd has the right to cross-examine you, or if you had witnesses, she could cross-examine them as well.
Yes, sir.
If either of you have filed any exhibits with the court, and you want me to see those, you need to identify them by the caption or by the label that you put on that document when you filed it, so that our staff can pull it up, and then it'll be put on a shared screen for everyone to review at the same time. And Ms. Moorcraft, if you hear the word objection being raised by Ms. Boyd, which she has the right to do if she thinks there's something you've asked or said that was objectionable, once you hear the word objection, please stop talking so that we can deal with the objection before proceeding.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
And may I have the same right, sir?
Oh, absolutely. But it has to be a legal objection, not just something you don't want to hear. Okay.
Totally understand. Yes, sir.
All right. You may begin and tell me why you're seeking a protective order against Mr. Who.
So we have a 3-year-old daughter that we had just finished our custody agreement that was legally agreed to January of this year. He requested to have her every other weekend. We agreed to that. She came home from a weekend with him June 16th to 18th. When I picked her up on the 19th, Monday, from school, she came running to me very frantically and crying, saying, "Mommy, please don't make me go back there."
Hold on, ma'am. You've gone into what's called hearsay. I'll go ahead and I just want to clarify. I don't want to hear anything that a 3-year-old said. We can't deal with that here. They're not subject to cross-examination.
Got it. Okay. Can I talk about my daughter's
You
actions?
can talk about what you saw, what you observed, and that's it. Or what you and the respondent may have talked about. He's here and he can respond to that.
Yes, sir. So I just wanted to describe what made me start this. So my daughter came home from spending a weekend with Mr. Who, acting completely different from majority of the times that she has come home. She has. So that's why I asked about the
Somebody's
room.
got something
Yeah.
else going in the background. They need to cut it out.
Yes, thank you. So when I picked her up from school from spending the weekend with her father, she was clearly distraught, very upset, and very unlike when I typically pick her up from school. After I picked her up, I called her therapist that Mr. Who and I have agreed that she needed to start seeing because she was struggling with the divorce and staying at his house. And I called the therapist for advice on, I don't know what to do. This is a 3-year-old telling me something. I don't want to ask the wrong questions. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm not trained in this matter. She advised me that I did need to report it to CPS, and that since it was a third party maybe reporting to her, that she may not necessarily have to, but that she probably would as well, and that she would get us in for an appointment as soon as possible. We went in for an appointment as soon as possible, and you will see, sir, in document, I'm sorry, I'm a little worked up. Document number 8 is a letter provided by our therapist stating everything that she saw and asked Eliza and witnessed when we went into her appointment.
Okay, are you asking us to pull it up? Are you asking us to pull it up so
Sure.
everyone can see
Yes,
it?
sir. Yes.
Okay.
Can we please pull that up?
Well, Judge, I think
Yes.
the letter itself is hearsay, but the counselor is here. So if she would like to authenticate the letter and then move forward with speaking about
Okay,
it.
well, if
perfectly fine.
the counselor is one of your witnesses, Ms. Boyd,
It's the witness that I subpoenaed. I wouldn't call him my witness.
okay,
But
well,
yes,
okay, but they are here to testify, so.
You subpoena them.
Okay, so I'm going to allow the document on that basis, but it would probably be better served, ma'am, if it was done at the time this witness appears.
Okay, great. I'm fine with that too. We can put the document away. That is a person that Mr. Who and I both trusted to, offer advice and help us with our daughter. I'm not sure why you're shaking your head when you signed the consent form, Mr. Who.
Okay, ma'am,
Yes.
one thing we're not going to have in this courtroom, albeit a Zoom courtroom, we will not have the two of you talking to each other out of hand. Both of you, you would have the right to cross-examine him if he testifies, but you are not to discuss anything directly to him. Whether you
Understood.
like his shaking a head or not, you need to move on.
Yes, sir. No problem. So the next part of this is the day after, the morning of, I reached out to Mr. Hu myself, as our parenting plan states that we are supposed to co-parent. I let him know specifically what was stated to me and how Eliza was acting, and if something happened this weekend that you would like to discuss with me. His response, let's go ahead and could we please pull up document number 3, please? So this is our court-ordered app that we have to speak through. Again, at this point, I had been advised to call CPS. I did not want to file for a TPO because I know the severity of it, and I wanted to get more information on it. I reached out to Mr. Hu to try to talk to him about it, and his response right here says, frankly, there's nothing to discuss. He does follow up by saying some other very legally nice written terms. And this was about 24 hours after I wrote to him about what his daughter was saying and how she was acting. So in my mind, if my daughter would say that, I'm picking up the phone right away. Let's talk about what happened, because of course I would never do anything to my daughter. But instead it started off with, frankly, there's nothing to discuss, when in our parenting plan, it clearly states we have to discuss everything. So that is number 1. I went to him directly and I was shut down. So then next, I appreciate Ms. Boyd giving her recall of what happened at court last week, but I came at the same time as they did. I was screened by pro bono as per the judge. I did not ask that. The judge made me. I went through 4 hours of
I'm gonna go ahead and object. I don't know how this
Okay.
is relevant at this
Okay,
point.
ma'am, Ms. Moorcraft, we don't need to hear about the screening and the fact that you had to sit here for 4 hours. I apologize. I wasn't the judge that day, but these calendars do run long.
Totally understand, sir. Not my point at all. I apologize if it came off that way.
Let's stick to the petition and why you're here.
Okay, so I'm saying last week, I tried to talk to Ms. Boyd when we went to our breakout room,
Okay,
and she said, are you going to drop this or not? And I said, I'm so sorry, ma'am, I'm not. And she left the room. So after trying to talk to Mr. Hu himself, after telling Ms. Boyd, we could have talked about this weeks before it's gotten to this point. You've avoided service twice. And now we're here, and you talk to me like, am I going to drop this now and then just leave the room? There's no real conversation or co-parenting going on. So I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. If you're not going to talk to me, and there's pictures of my daughter having scratch marks on her back where she has said that she's been hit, I have to protect my daughter. So that's why I'm here, sir.
okay. Do you have any pictures you wish to show the court?
Yes, there are pictures. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second to pull the correct number up, please, sir. It's documents number 4.1 and 4.2.
Okay, this is 4.1.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, thank you. All right, everybody had a chance to look at it? All right, 4.2. Can you direct me to what we're supposed to be seeing?
Her neck collarbone, there is a scratch and it's swollen, sir.
Okay, it's very difficult with these share screens. They're very
I
small.
understand. Yes, sir, I understand.
Okay, you're talking about the light mark there or the dark mark next to the light mark?
Dark mark next to the light mark, sir.
Okay. All right. Everyone through reviewing this?
I am.
All right,
Yes, Judge, I'm sorry.
okay, thank you. All right, anything else you wish for the court to see?
At this point, no, sir, unless you would like to see our family plan, that was agreed upon, that clearly states that we are supposed to co-parent and talk about everything that happens with our daughter.
No, I don't think I need to see any document from another court. Y'all have already told me how the custody is set up, so I understand that. Do you wish to tender the documents that you presented to the court? Do you wish to tender them into evidence? It's a formality that I'm asking you about.
Okay, I'm so sorry, that tender them in, can you?
Yes, the ones that we've seen thus far, do you wish
Yep.
them to be a part of the evidence of this case?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Boyd, any objection?
I would have to object to the letter from the counselor because it hasn't been authenticated. just
Right,
yet.
and that, you know, if that witness doesn't testify, then I'm gonna let her go back on it and we'll see where it goes from there. But are you telling me that this testify? Ms. Boyd?
She should be in the waiting room.
Okay, what's her name?
Gabrielle
Yeah, okay, she's
Parker,
here.
Gabrielle Parker.
She's here. She's in the waiting room.
Okay,
I would ask when we get,
Okay.
maybe when we get to your side of the case, if you'll present her first so that she can get on about her business.
I would like to.
Okay, or
That's
first
perfect.
after your client, if you will. Okay, anything further, Ms. Moorcraft?
Not at this point, sir.
Okay, now it's time for cross-examination. Ms. Boyd, do you have any cross-examination?
I do. Just a few questions, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Moorcraft. You allege that between June 16th and 18th, my client had parenting time with the minor child. How many times did you speak with Eliza during that time?
Twice for about 20 minutes total. So the whole weekend I talked to her for about 20 minutes.
On what days?
Let's say the 16th and 17th. So I guess I spoke to her the 18th too. I think I spoke to her. Because the weekend before he wouldn't let me talk to her. So I can go through my phone records if you like. Do you want me to check?
I just want to know how many times you talked to your daughter during this.
I talked to her every day for less than 10 minutes. So it's a total of 20 minutes for the whole weekend that I spoke to her.
And when you say you talked to her, did you speak with her on FaceTime?
Yes, ma'am.
And what time did you talk to her on each of these days? Roundabout.
Let's say sometime between 5:30 and 7:30.
On each day?
Yes, ma'am. Sometime between that time each day, whenever Mr. Who said they were available.
But she didn't show any signs of being distraught during the times that you spoke with her on each of those days on FaceTime.
I would disagree with that. She was playing by herself and ran away multiple times to go find her dad because she didn't want to be alone.
And you were so concerned that you left her there.
I was not concerned until she came home and had scratches and marks on her back and neck. My daughter, she has struggled with staying at her father's house as we've gotten her a therapist for that. So yes, that actually is a normal thing, unfortunately. And I left her
The
there.
question is, you left her there after you observed her being distraught. You said you observed her being distraught. The question is, you left her there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
I did.
Okay, so
I thought her
once,
father would take care of her.
okay, so once after the 18th at 7:30, sometime between then and when you saw your daughter again, something took place, is what you're trying to say. So let me ask you this: the
Wrong.
school called you, right?
No, I'm not saying that. If I only talked to
The
her for
school didn't call you at all?
minutes in those 3 days, how do I know when it happened? I didn't see her with her shirt off. I would have never seen the back marks or the neck
But
mark.
that's not the question, Ms. Moorcraft. That's not the question. The
Look.
question is, the school contacted you, right?
When did the school contact me?
I'm asking you, when did the school contact you?
I don't know. I
You
don't know.
mean to tell me that something happened to your daughter between 5:30 and 7:30, or just after that on the 18th. Then she went to a full day of school right after that, and
Mhm.
nobody called you and told you that she was distraught. But as soon as you laid eyes on her, as soon as she came out the door, she was frantic.
She cries pretty much every day at school. She cries waking up from her naps. She cries sometimes being dropped off. She is distraught at school for many different reasons at different times. So no, the school did not call me. It's the school's job to take care of her while we're at work, right? You're distraught, I think there's a level of distraught, right? And I'm hearing an echo again and it's
Well,
very,
you said that she was frantic. What level of distraught was she when you got a hold of her?
she was running up to me saying, mommy, I never want to go back there. That is frantically distraught to me. And I was told to not
But she
speak.
wasn't frantically distraught when she was at school the whole day.
No, she doesn't know them like her mother, that she trusts her mother to come say, mom, don't send me back there. How's she going to tell her teacher that?
Okay, the scratch that was on her neck, you saw
Yeah.
the photo. Are you alleging that my client scratched her?
Yes, I am.
And that was the scar that, and how do you, what do you have to show that he caused that scar?
Nothing other than that she was in his care for the whole weekend. And I asked him to talk to me about what happened and he said nothing. So how does she have a scratch and bruise on her neck and scratches on her back if nothing happened? If she fell down the steps,
And you are aware that okay,
Something
and you
happened.
are aware that she had soccer practice the day before, right?
I was there. Mr. Who was not going to take her until I threatened him to take her because that's part of the rules. He has to take her to her
The
extracurricular.
question is, you were aware that the young lady played soccer the day before the scratch appeared.
Ma'am, I don't know when the scratch appeared. It could have appeared between the 16th to the 19th at any point.
But on the 18th, she played soccer is the question.
So let me pull my schedule back up. She played soccer on
It's just a
Saturday.
yes or no. Did she or did she not have soccer practice on the 18th?
I'm not sure if it was the 18th is what I'm saying. And playing soccer, why would she get a scratch underneath her shirt on
Hey,
her
ma'am,
collarbone?
Ms. Moorcraft, you can't ask questions, just answer in statements, please. Whatever your
Yes.
knowledge is. If you don't have knowledge of what happened, then you
Okay.
can say so.
I am not sure exactly what date it was, Miss Boyd. She did have soccer practice and game on Saturday. Yes.
You allege that she had night terror every night, screaming and crying
Yes.
every single night. What's every night? When did she have night terror?
It was up until about the first week of July, so for about 2 to 3 weeks. And
She had night terror for 2 to 3 weeks,
yes. And it's been terribly
but she
hard.
didn't say anything at school. None of the teachers mentioned anything at school, but she had night terror for 2 to 3 weeks the day you picked her up from school.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You also allege that my client has been violent with you and the daughter in the past. Can you tell me more about, that's very vague. What does that mean?
Okay, you want me to answer that? Can you?
That's the question. You can
question?
go ahead and answer it.
Okay, yes, I allege that your client has been violent with me and my daughter in the past, as in my petition. It is stated that in 2021, he forcibly grabbed she was 1, maybe 2 at that point, and held her in place while she's screaming, "Please let me go to mommy," and he won't let her go. He has also chased me around the living room while holding her and pushed my mother out of the way, trying to get to me and her. He's also put his hands on me, pushing me out of the way. I'm hearing an echo again, and I'm trying to be calm, and it's
Okay. I don't know if everybody's getting too close to their microphones. We were getting a little bit of that too with you, Ms. Boyd.
Let me just switch. I'm gonna switch the sound over. This might be helpful. If I take this off,
Right now, you're perfectly clear, but
is that better?
that's fine.
Okay.
I also stated in my petition that in December 2020 and August 2021, the respondent was overdosed with drugs, 2 different occasions where I was left at home with my daughter and him by myself, and I had to choose to take her out or watch him bang his head back and forth in the shower, leaving blood all over the bathroom in the bedroom. And I had to call his witnesses that are sitting in that room to come here and help me hold Liza while he's in there seizing. I thought, let me calm down. That happened 2 different times that I had to call 911 and an ambulance come pick up my husband because he was so overdosed and seizing, he could not get out of it.
What does that have to do with being violent? Can we back up? I recognize you read the petition. I'm asking about, it says father has been violent with her and her daughter in the past. Can you tell me what that means? He hit you?
I just did. I'd explain every single time to you.
Did he hit you is what I'm asking.
He pushed me. He pushed me out of the way. He pushed my mother in front of me. He chased me around the living room while holding my daughter, screaming at me, and pushed my mother out of the way so he couldn't get to me. My mother.
And when did this take place, allegedly?
This took place. We were in the new house, so it was 2021 at some point, maybe in the summer. My mother will testify as a witness if she has to, but I thought that we were going to be able to work this out without it turning into this, so I did not bring any witnesses.
I'm sorry, you said it happened in summer 2021?
Yes.
Did you call the police? That sounds very traumatic.
No, I didn't, because I wanted to
You have
protect
them arrested at all for pushing you or
Okay,
assaulting you?
Ms. Boyd, I heard the
Yes.
witness still responding to your question. Please let her finish her answers before you ask your next question.
Yes, Judge.
All right, finish your answer, ma'am.
I did not call the police because I was trying to protect my husband and I did not want something to happen to him.
You also allege that my client was, I feel like I shouldn't have to address it, but because it's in the petition, we can touch on it. You allege that he was avoiding service. Did you ever send over, you knew of me being in the case, the modification? Did you ever send over a copy of the petition and ask him to acknowledge service?
Yes.
Where did you send that to?
July 27th, when you reached out to me personally asking for it and I sent it directly back to you and you never accepted service. And then you
That's
shut
this
up.
case. We absolutely accepted service, right? Because we wouldn't be here.
The court record shows that service, acknowledgement of service was filed with the court on August 7th.
I was not
Okay.
made aware of that. All
Okay,
Ms.
well,
Boyd
if,
made me aware
believe
of.
me, as Ms. Boyd just said, we would not be having a hearing if he had not been served or acknowledged service. So let's move on to something else.
Okay.
Okay. You also said in 2021 that my client forcibly grabbed Eliza, screaming at her and
Yeah.
would not let her go. You called the police that time, right? That sounds pretty serious.
No, I did not.
Did you file a TPO then?
I did not. I was married to my husband and we were in counseling and trying to make it work. I was trying to protect my. No, I did not.
Okay. And then you alleged some things about December 2020 and August 2021.
Yes.
In December 2020, isn't that an edible that you gave him? Weren't you also under the influence? I'm sorry, that's
So-
2 questions.
No worries. Yes, I had 2 gummies and Nick went back up and grabbed a handful of gummies and then brought me up to the room saying, I don't know where I am. I don't know what's going on, and was very overdosed while I was fine. So yes, I did.
Okay.
And I was
And
able
then
to
August
carry
Ju-
out.
2021, the
just-
other,
Excuse me, Ms. Boyd, just for the education of the court, what was the consistency of these gummies?
Weed.
Okay. Edibles.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Right.
all right. I just want to clarify for the record what gummies can be candy. So I just want to clarify.
that's very true.
No, Mr. Who was very aware that they were not just candy.
And then in August 2021, you said there was some sort of overdose. That was a CBD cookie sold at the store, correct?
Correct, that he did not read the instructions and ate the whole thing when the instructions clearly said to have a 6. And he ate the whole thing and came home driving home from work to me and Eliza home alone on a ×6 cookie. And then told me, Katie, this is happening again. I can feel it. It's happening. So I called the store that he bought it from and asked what he should do because he ate the whole thing. And they said, oh my God, he should have never done that. Try to tell him that he's still here, maybe get him in the shower with some cold water that would wake him up. So that's why I walked him to the bathroom and he just face plants into the tub. And I have to take Eliza outside and call 911 because it's just us here.
Any more cross-examination?
I'm just taking a look at my notes. Judge, I think that's all from her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so the documents other than the counselor's letter have been admitted on the plaintiff's side or petitioner's side. Is there any further evidence that you wish to present at this time, Ms. Moorcraft?
At this time, no, sir.
Okay, all right, Ms. Boyd, moves to your side to proceed.
I would like to call the counselor first. Is that okay, Judge?
Okay, that's, I just wanted to get her out of here. She's here as a professional to try and get her
Yeah.
back to work. And
I agree.
I mean, I don't know what the status is of the other witnesses, but yeah, if you want to bring her in.
You said Miss
Yes, please.
Jackson?
Gabrielle Parker.
Gabrielle Parker.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'll
Thank
bring her now. Ms. Parker, if you could please start your video.
All
Hello.
right, Ms. Parker,
Good
we don't have a deputy here, so I'm going to let counsel swear you in.
Yes, sir.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. First, I'd like to ask, when we sent out this subpoena, we also requested that you bring with you all of the records dealing with Eliza, the child at issue here. Did you bring those with you?
I did not.
Okay, but you're aware you're under subpoena to bring those records. Do they exist?
They do. I was given less than 48 hours to appear and to produce those records. I need more time to do that simply. I had to cancel and rearrange clients very last minute. And so I simply did not have time to gain and collect and produce all of those records in that short period of time.
I'd like to share my screen. Well, Judge, I don't know how you'd like to deal with it because I think our records are important. Unless you know, do you know everything about these parties by heart?
Was that, excuse me, was that directed at me?
Yes.
Yeah, it was definitely not directed at me.
Oh, okay.
I know she had asked me earlier, and I will leave it to you to proceed, Ms. Boyd, if you feel these are vital. I mean, if you have certain records, certainly that you could have filed them with the court as well, but if you feel that the importance is there, that they have to be brought by her and have her a chance to review them, because you may get answers like, I don't recall, I don't know.
Right.
So
I just
if
want to
you
pull up the
can-
letter. I think we can, for the purposes of this hearing, I think we can go forward.
Okay, if you don't, then all I could do would be to reset it. And I won't be back on the bench until 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, actually.
Judge, I think we'll be fine.
Okay, all right, you may proceed.
Thank you. I'd like to pull, well, I don't know, we admitted it under Ms. Moorcraft's evidence. I had it marked as well. but I'd like to pull the letter and go over it with her to see if we can get it
Do
off.
you remember how you labeled it or? Oh, okay.
I have it labeled, but
Okay.
I'm not sure. She doesn't.
All right.
Okay.
Ms. Parker, can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Parker, this is a letter that Ms. Moorcraft entered into evidence. Did you write this letter?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to talk about the information that's here. Judge, when you're ready, because I'd like you to at least
Oh,
have
go
the
ahead.
chance to look at it.
Go ahead with your
Okay.
examination.
Okay, so it says here that you started seeing Eliza for the first time May of this year, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. In between May and what looks to be June 19th, you saw her 1, 2, 3, 4 times, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so prior to June 19th, had Eliza made any complaints about any abuse taking place in the home?
No.
Okay. The first allegation of abuse came from whom?
The first concern came from Ms. Moorcraft.
Okay. And since then, it looks like you said you spoke with Eliza on June 29th.
Uh,
correct?
29th or 19th?
When it
uh,
says June 29th, she met with Eliza. If you scroll down just a little.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see it right at the bottom. I apologize. All right, so that's a
Mhm.
total of 5 visits then, right?
In total, yes, it looks like.
Okay.
One, two,
All right, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just didn't see the 29th.
Yes, it's fine. No worries, Judge.
All right, go
So
ahead.
on June 29th, you met with Eliza, am I correct?
correct.
Okay. When you spoke with Eliza, was she alone?
She was with her mother, Ms. Moorcraft.
Did you speak with her at any time by herself?
Very briefly, Ms. Moorcraft went to the restroom at one point during the session, but the rest of the session was with both of them present.
Okay, and it says here that the child reported that her father hit her on the bottom.
Correct.
Was that while Ms. Moorcraft was present or when she was by herself?
While Ms. Moorcraft was present, I believe.
Do you recall whether or not you asked Eliza if anybody told her to say that?
I did not.
Okay. And you said she's never reported any type of abuse prior to then.
No, ma'am.
Did Eliza complain of any scratches on her?
No, ma'am.
Did Eliza allege that her dad scratched her on her neck or her back?
No. I think it's important to note that I am not an investigator. Therefore, when a child or I have any suspicion or concern for child abuse or neglect, I am a mandated reporter. So I simply make a DFACS report and leave that up to the department.
So you made a DFACS report about this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what date did you do that?
I believe I made it on the 19th.
And what were the allegations in to DFACS, just to be clear?
This was based off of Ms. Moorcraft's communications with me. She had alleged that Eliza had returned home to her and had reported to her that dad had hit her.
Okay, so you had not seen or spoken with the minor child before making the DFACS report?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It also says that she presented as very uncomfortable and dysregulated,
Correct.
which you had not previously observed with Eliza.
Correct.
And in your experience, what is that indicative of?
It could be so many things. It's hard to determine. I just noticed a pattern and that this was different than her normal behavior.
What is her normal behavior?
She's often very warm and open to coming into the playroom. She is very explorative of the room, generally pretty calm, pretty regulated.
Okay, have you had a situation where a child was directed to talk to you about something?
I apologize, I don't understand the question.
Okay, have you had a situation where there was an allegation from a parent that the child did not substantiate?
Like I said, my job as a therapist is not to investigate abuse. So
Let me rephrase it. I'm gonna rephrase it. I'm not asking you to investigate. I'd like to know if her uncomfortableness can be due to her having to say things she did not want to say,
I don't know.
and you have no idea if that's a possibility.
I don't.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Oh, can I see the second page? I'm sorry, before I do that. Let me just make sure. Okay, no other questions, Chair.
Okay. All right, Ms. Moorcraft, do you have any questions of this witness?
I do, sir.
Be sure to put it in the form of a question and not a statement.
Yes, sir. All right, so Ms. Parker, when I reached out to you for therapy for Eliza in April, do you remember a little more specifically what Eliza was struggling with?
I believe it was the concerns regarding the transition with the new parenting plan.
On May 30th, you and Mr. Hu and Eliza had an hour appointment, but for the first 30 minutes, you met with Mr. Hu individually and asked me to come stay inside with Eliza so that you could speak to him. Can you tell me why that was when it was supposed to be scheduled an hour with both of them together?
I believe I had some concerns about some correspondence via email that Mr. Hu had sent to myself and Ms. Moorcraft that I didn't believe was helpful to a healthy co-parenting relationship. So it was just something that I wanted to address, and we spoke about. I kind of expressed again the importance of a healthy co-parenting relationship for the child. And so we just had discussed that. And I had asked Ms. Moorcraft to come because I didn't want Eliza to be present for that. I didn't find that it was appropriate for the child to hear that conversation. And I didn't want her to have to wait in the waiting room alone due to her age.
Of course, thank you. Do you remember me calling you July 19th afternoon, very concerned about what Eliza had expressed to me?
Yes.
Do you remember me saying to you and talking about that I did not want to file for the TPO until CPS was at least able to get back to me or you about the concern that was brought to us, and that maybe we didn't even have to go this route?
Judge, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that she's testifying for her.
It ultimately ended up as a question, do you remember? But you need to start it as a question and finish it as a question without expressing your testimony in between.
Okay.
You
Did
can
you
ask her
see-
what she recalls of that conversation.
Yeah, can you recall a little bit of the conversation that you and I had on the 19th?
You had called and had reported to me what you had previously stated about the allegations. I provided space for you to talk about that. I did also remind Ms. Moorcraft that I am a mandated reporter, and that I said, civilians, anyone can make a DFACS report as well. So if you felt like it was necessary to make a report, that you could certainly do so on your own. And I believe I provided the number for the child abuse and neglect hotline number.
Right. Do you remember talking about a temporary restraining order at all?
Yes, I think that was something that you had brought up.
Okay. Do you remember how many times I called you asking if CPS to call back before I filed for the TPO?
I do not.
Can you give us a range of 0 to maybe 5 or maybe 100, just 0 or something?
It was several times, more than once. I don't recall an exact number.
Yep, no problem. Miss Boyd already asked that question. I do just want to ask again, what did Eliza say to you when you asked her if this had happened before?
I don't recall.
Judge, it's hearsay anyway,
That
but it's fine.
Okay, hold on, Ms. Parker. The objection is hearsay.
Okay.
Well, we'll move on then. I'll sustain the objection.
Ms. Parker, can you describe Eliza's demeanor during the appointment, especially when speaking about her dad? And I'm sorry, let me clarify the last appointment that we had.
As I had previously reported, she was pretty dysregulated throughout most of the session. I observed her asking if she could go home, which was something that I had not heard from her before, often wanting to be very close to mom, hiding behind mom at times, things of that nature.
I think that's all I have
Okay,
for Ms. Parker.
all right. Any recross, Ms. Boyd?
Just a couple, Judge.
Well, I say recross, technically redirect.
Redirect. Yes, Judge, just a couple. Ma'am, this secret meeting that you had with Mr. Who about something that was inappropriate as it relates to co-parenting, was it about abuse at all?
No,
Did it have anything to do with him hitting Eliza or abusing her in any way?
no. And it wasn't
Okay.
a secret. I want to clarify that it wasn't a secret meeting. It just was something that I felt was more appropriate to discuss individually. So,
Okay, and then the other question, we just talked about what Eliza's behavior was indicative of, and you testified that you can't say. So instead of asking whether or not children do that when they're forced to lie, so to speak, I'd like to know, in your experience, do children act that way when they've been abused?
I'm not sure I
I said
understand
yes.
that question.
I'm sorry, Judge, could you repeat yourself?
I
I'm just
said, I'm not sure I understand the
the-
question. It's a
Yeah.
multi-part question. If you could break it up, I'd appreciate it.
I sure will. So, Ms. Parker here, it is Ms. Parker, right?
Yes,
Testified that she's not an investigator and that the child's behavior, she does not know what it means. She just observed that that was the behavior. I'm asking her, does that apply for whether or not it indicated some sort of abuse?
yes,
So it applies the same. You don't know why she was acting like that.
correct.
Okay, no further questions.
Ms. Moorcraft, you have the opportunity. Do you have any recross that you wish to ask?
No, thank you, sir.
Okay, may this witness be excused.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to clarify, nobody needs you to testify again. All right, and you may be excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms.
Okay, Judge, I'd like to call Mr. Johnson.
Okay, without getting into too much detail as far as your witnesses, I just want to make sure we're not going to hear redundant testimony from, this is unusual to have this many witnesses here, so that's why I'm asking in advance, if each one has something
Well, I
separate
think-
to testify to,
Yes,
and do they
each of
have
these
personal knowledge?
witnesses were with Mr. Who and Eliza at some point during the weekend.
Okay, that particular weekend,
Correct,
the June 16th, 18th, 19th, whatever.
correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
I think I left out the 17th.
Right, the 17th through the 16th through the 9th, something like that, Judge. The
Okay.
16th through the,
All right,
that's it.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to stretch out this hearing, hearing the same thing over and over. with.
I'm gonna make it so that 5 minutes each, if that.
Okay, thank you. Of course, you
You're
know,
welcome.
lawyers, we never were good at estimating how many questions we were going to ask or how long it was going to take.
Now that part might be true. You wanna, is Mr. Johnson? We might need to start, can we start with Miss Johnson? Let's do that. Ricky Johnson.
Okay, well, we
Okay,
already-
let me switch it out. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ms. Johnson, can you please start your video? Okay, we're ready.
all right, Ms. Boyd, if you'll swear in your witness, please.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Okay, do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You're on mute.
Please unmute.
Yes,
Thank you.
I do.
All right,
Thank you.
all right, you may proceed.
right,
Ms.
can you-
Boyd.
Thank you, Judge. Can you please state your name for the court recording?
it's Ricky Johnson.
Okay. And what's your relationship to Mr. Who?
He's my cousin-in-law.
Okay. Do you know why you're here today?
Yes,
Okay. So there are some allegations that Mr. Who hit Eliza sometime between June 16th and June 18th or 19th, somewhere in there. Did you happen to spend any time with Eliza and Nicholas during that time?
yes, they were at my house for a couple of hours on June 17th, the Saturday.
And what were they doing while they were there?
Eliza pretty much comes over. She was playing with her cousin. She showed me a whole slew of monster trucks that seemed to never end. And she was just pretty much playing around the house, showing me her cartwheels and regular 3-year-old stuff. Nick was pretty much helping put together a lot of her toys, and she pretty much was between down here with us in the living room watching cartoons and upstairs with her cousins playing.
How many times have you been around Eliza?
Oh, I've been around Eliza several times, pretty much since the beginning.
Would you say Would you say that you recognize if she was upset about something?
Within normal 3-year-old parameters or type parameters, yeah.
Okay. Did Eliza seem to be distraught at all while she was there with you?
No, she wasn't.
Did you witness Mr. Who hit Eliza in any way?
No,
Have you ever witnessed Mr. Who hit Eliza?
no,
Has Mr. Who ever said that he hit Eliza?
no.
Okay. There's another allegation out there about an overdose incident. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us the court about that?
So I did receive a call a couple of years ago, by Katie, Miss Moorcraft, that Nick was having a seizure in the bathroom, and she called me to ask me if I can come help her out.
She said he was having a seizure.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you known Ms. Moorcraft to take drugs?
I don't know that to be a fact about her.
Okay. Have you known of her to offer Nicholas any drugs?
None that I know of.
Okay. Were you present when this happened? Did you go over to see how Mr. Who was doing with this alleged seizure?
Yeah, when I got there, he was already, the seizure or whatever was going on was already in place. So I think about 20 to 30 minutes after her phone call is when I got there.
Okay. And he was fine?
No, he was having some sort of episode, like the seizure that she described.
Oh, so some sort of medical emergency.
Yeah, something was going on.
Objection.
Hold on a second. What do you say, ma'am?
We were very clear.
Okay, now,
what the-
whoa. Do you have an objection? Yes or no?
I do. She's asking a question that she knows the answer to.
Okay, I said it has to be a legal objection.
Okay, my apologies, sir.
Okay, all right, objection overruled. You may proceed, ma'am.
Have you ever known Nicholas to be violent toward Katie?
Violent, no.
Has Nicholas ever said that he's been violent toward Ms. Moorcraft?
No,
Has Ms. Moorcraft ever called you and said that Nicholas was violent towards her,
no,
but she felt the need to call to tell you about a seizure?
yes.
Okay. No other questions?
All right, now, Ms. Moorcraft, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, I do. Ms. Johnson, do you remember why I called you on the day of Nick's overdose that seemed like he was seizing?
Yes.
Why did I call you?
You told me that he was having some sort of seizure.
But why did I call you?
Why
Judge
did you call
Exton,
me specifically?
Okay, I think the question's slightly different. All right, go ahead.
Why did I call you, Ricky?
You mean her in particular to the
Yeah.
exclusion of all other people?
Yes, because,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, well, I just want to clarify the question so she can answer it.
sorry, yes, sir.
She either knows or doesn't know.
I don't think I know why you called me specifically, honestly.
Um, do you remember more specifically Mr. Who's condition upon arrival?
Yes.
Can you go into detail?
When I got there, I remember hearing, I think Eliza was crying, and I think he was in the bathroom in the tub flailing when I got there.
Do you remember telling me he was about to drown himself?
I remember the water being on, and I remember us turning it off because I didn't want him to drown. Yes.
I don't have the exact date, but it was, probably 2 years ago. It was when we were still married. Ricky, do you remember a conversation about a mental disorder that Mr. Who has?
No, I honestly don't.
Okay, I have the conversation.
Okay.
But that's okay. No, I need to ask some questions. I'm sorry. So during the weekend of 6/16 through 6/19 total, how long did you spend with Eliza?
I think Eliza was over here maybe 2 hours. I know it wasn't more than 3, so about 2, maybe 2.5 hours.
So you were in presence of her for just 2 hours through the whole weekend and was happy and playing as normal with her cousins. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
I've phrased most of these wrong, Judge, so I apologize for taking an extra second to try to rephrase it. There was another night, Ricky, that you and I spoke. Okay, that's not a question. Do you remember talking about Nick chasing me around the living room?
He's testifying again.
That's a
honestly-
question. That's a question. I'm gonna overrule the objection.
I don't remember that conversation.
She's got her own cross, so she can lead her.
Okay, so I have messages from that conversation with you, Ricky, as well.
Okay.
And so we definitely did speak about that. And
That's testifying. Do you have something you want to show?
so I did not upload our conversation. Again, I was hoping that me and Miss Boyd could get somewhere before it's gotten
Okay,
to, so no.
we're here. Let's don't
Yep,
talk about what we wish happened.
Yes, sir, understood. No, I do
Believe me,
not
I
have
wish y'all
the,
had worked it out as well.
yep, understood. So no, Ms. Johnson, that's all I have.
Okay, any redirect? Ms. Boyd,
Just one. You said that, just one. Ms. Johnson, you said when you got there after the overdose situation, he was flailing in the tub. Was there any violence when you got there?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
Violence? Was he
no.
violent with Ms. Moorcraft? Was he violent with Eliza?
No, Ms. Moorcraft and Eliza were behind me and I was kind of in the bathroom with Nick at the time.
Did either of them say that he had been violent leading up to you getting there?
No,
Okay, nothing further.
Can we confirm what the word violent means? Because if he's flailing around the
okay,
bathtub,
hold on.
yep, sorry.
Do you want to ask a question? You have a right to recross here, but if you want a clarification, you can do so through your cross examination.
Okay, I would like a clarification then of what we're calling violence, because, yeah,
Okay,
I'd like a
you have
clarification.
to ask of
of
the
violence.
witness.
oh, the question's to me? I
Well,
don't,
She can't ask questions of Ms. Boyd, so you're the only one
Okay.
that can ask questions of.
I don't consider what I saw violence because he was contained in the bathtub. So to me, violence is when there's harm inflicted on somebody else around him.
But so before you got here and I and Eliza were the ones taking care of him, there was no violence going on?
I can't speak on what happened
Ms.
if I wasn't
Moorcraft,
there.
Yeah, she answered the question. She can't speculate as to what happened before she got there. She can only
Okay.
testify as to what she saw or heard.
Okay, why do you think I called you, Ricky? Why would I call you?
Judge, she's already asked that question.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
been asked and answered.
Okay, I have no further questions.
All right, may this witness be excused.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, you can leave the meeting if you wish.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, call your next witness.
I'd like to call Mr. Johnson.
Is this from the same 2 hours?
Yes,
Were they ever separated at any time, or were they both there the entire time? Not by much.
Not by.
So we can,
He was also present for the alleged.
How you doing?
If you want to clarify
Yes,
who the
thank you.
witness, you swear him in and clarify whether it was all the same period of time, whether he has a
Okay.
different ad.
Mr. Johnson, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us your name for the court reporter?
Onan Johnson.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, do you know why you're here?
Yes.
Okay, were you with Eliza and Mr. Who sometime during the weekend of June 16th?
Yes. That was Father's Day weekend. Yes.
Were you with either of them at any time that Miss Johnson was not?
No, not really. If my wife probably went in the room or something for a quick second, but for the most part, we was kind of together.
She went to the store during this time, right?
She did what? I'm sorry.
You were breaking up, Ms. Boyd.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Did Miss Johnson go to the store at some point while you were there with Mr. Who and Eliza?
To be honest, I don't remember.
I can't hear you.
He said he doesn't
I said
remember.
to be honest, I don't remember. I just remember us being in the living room, and I know that Eliza go upstairs to play with my sons, and then she also came downstairs with Nick, and we was putting together a whole bunch of toys and stuff. So for the most part, I remember her being there, but if she might have went to the store for a quick second, I remember.
Well, Judge, it sounds like they were there for the same time period.
All right. You have the right to ask questions, but it appears that any testimony might be redundant with the previous witness. Do you wish to ask him anything?
I do. Mr. Johnson, have you ever had to have conversations with Nick about parenting?
Yes.
Do you remember how many times you stopped talking to Nick for periods of time because of his actions?
For the parenting, no.
Okay. Do you know, no, sorry, let me rephrase. Do you remember me having to call you when Nick was overdosed for the second time with just me and Eliza home alone?
No, you didn't call me. My wife called me, and I happened to be down the street. So
Your phone is breaking up. We can't hear you.
Is it in my headset?
Okay, hold on. Sir, are you driving right now? Are you?
I pulled over.
Yeah,
But
please pull over and be stationary. I don't want to have a wreck happen.
Yeah, I'm not even. Yeah, I'm not moving at all. So yeah, I'm not moving at all. So
Okay, I just want to make sure you weren't moving down the road and
no,
not paying attention to traffic.
I'm not.
We have had that.
Yeah, no,
You are breaking up.
yeah, I'm
Signal is
not.
not good. Now you're frozen up. Okay, there you go. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you guys fine, so I don't understand how
Okay.
come I'm breaking up. I'm not
Right
moving
now,
or
right
anything,
now,
so-
you're clear.
Okay.
Any other questions, Ms. Moorcraft?
So just during the weekend of 6/16 through 6/19, how long did you spend with Eliza total?
That weekend probably like an hour and a little bit, maybe a little bit over an hour, maybe 2 hours, something like that. Not long though. That's usually our time that we spend with Eliza.
No worries. Yeah, no
Okay,
further questions.
let me ask the court reporter, were you able to pick that up, Madam Court Reporter?
Yeah, this for the most part I did, but he was breaking up a
Yeah,
bit.
I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
Hour to two at the most. All right. Okay, was there anything else you said, sir? I need to make sure the court
No.
reporter is able to take it down.
Yeah, I said an hour, two at the most, but usually that's our time when it comes over and we spend with Eliza.
Okay, you got it?
Yes, I
Okay.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no further questions for this witness, or are there? Are there
Just
any more
one follow-up question, Judge.
Well, let me make sure Ms. Moorcraft is finished. That's what I'm
Oh,
asking.
I'm sorry. I thought you was done.
Thank you, Judge. I'm finished.
Okay, all right, Ms. Boyd, redirect.
Okay, the times you stopped talking to Nicholas Who, did it have anything to do with Mr. Who abusing, hitting, assaulting, being violent with Ms. Moorcraft?
No,
Did it have anything to do with him being
He don't
violent in
abuse
any
me.
way to Eliza?
no,
Have you ever known him to be violent toward Ms. Moorcraft or Eliza?
No.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
He said no.
He hasn't.
Okay. And has Ms. Moorcraft ever told you that Mr. Who was violent toward him or Eliza?
Her?
No.
Okay, nothing further.
Any other questions, Ms. Moorcraft?
Yes. Mr. Johnson, have you ever been told or heard of Mr. Who being emotionally and verbally abusive towards me and or Eliza?
Judge, I'm gonna go ahead and object. 'Cause most
Hold on,
verbal.
sir. Okay, what's your objection?
It's not in the statute, Judge. It's a family violence hearing. And it's nothing about emotional or verbal that comes in with a protective order.
Well,
Right,
it is one of the
Sorry.
elements, can be one of the elements or two of the elements of an overall picture of family violence. So I'll allow the question. Objection overruled.
Okay, no, Katie, me and you don't really talk, so if we do talk, it's always on up and up. It's never about any issues.
Fair answer. Thank you, sir.
All right, does that conclude your questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, may this witness be excused.
Yes.
Okay, sir, you're free to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can log off.
Thank you.